just like spread some light on the fucking doom and gloom that is like showered upon us by our fucking government every day when they tell us it's raining, but really they're just pissing all over it. I felt like I was going to turn inside out of embarrassment because I just, what the fuck's wrong with you? Like, you'd be like, you all right? It's a terrible relationship that somebody cannot leave. They know it's bad for them. They know it serves them no fucking purpose, but yet they're still fucking parading around with it. Oh, I'm so scared because things are different. I'm like, a lot of things are good different. Don't listen, turn it off then. It's as easy as that. Don't fucking eat the sausage roll then, Piers.
And that is going to be the tagline for the episode.
I actually looked for Big Brother.
Shut up.
Yes.
You would be the best on there.
It was the one when, was it Glyn and Imogen were in there?
Yeah.
Nikki Graham?
Yeah, Nikki Graham.
Yeah, so it was that one. I remember Imogen being at the place. It was where, I can't remember where it was. I'm sure it was like the Millennium Stadium, like in the bottom there where we all had to go. Yeah. And it was really horrible.
Was it?
Yeah. It was like very intense. The stuff that they make you sort of do and the things that they say to you is just bizarre. But I suppose it's all to see how you would interact with other people in the house with all different personalities.
Do you think you could have done it?
I probably could have done the older one.
Yeah.
Because it was less sort of like Z-lister celebrity, like influencer wannabe type thing.
Day to day.
Yeah, and I feel like you could be yourself more. Although you still got ridiculed, it seemed like they were accepted as Big Brother contestants and nothing more.
Yeah, no, I get you.
You know what I mean? But like, I remember this one challenge they made us do. So like, we were in like groups and then they whispered to you in your ear of what you were to do, but nobody else heard you. And they said to me, organise these 10 people. So 0 being the least attractive, and then 10 being the most. But I had to organise them in 30 seconds. And then at the end, I had to tell them what I did. And they were like, you've got to do it. Go, go, go. Like, there was no like, oh, I don't want to do it. It was like, you've got to do it.
God, that's mortifying. They wouldn't even be able to do that now.
No, well, they did that, and and then they were like, right, Emily, you've got to tell them now why you placed them in order. And I was like, oh my God. But they were doing that to like, sort of, I suppose, get rid of the uber sensitive people, see who would be like
Yeah, you know, honestly, ruthless you could be. Because they do that in there anyway.
It doesn't go down very well. It didn't go down very well anyway. Some of the people, I didn't know him, and I'm basically saying you're minging.
Oh my God.
And then you're alright in the middle.
I would pay good money to see you in the Big Brother house.
Oh God. I would never go in there now, but yeah, back in the day I really wanted to be a contestant.
They're bringing it back, aren't they?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that though.
I did see something though, and it said like, even Davina did an interview, and she said, I think it was like on the Capital Radio or whatever, and she was like, I just hope if they bring it back, they do go back to that. And they go back to just getting a random 50-year-old woman.
Yeah, because the thing is, that's what makes entertainment, all these different personalities, not like Love Island style, like beautiful people who have like got the best backgrounds, they've never had to struggle in life. They don't, like, they're not really fucking entertaining. It's just like...
Put one or two of them in, but put them with like the old net people, which is just hilarious. Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to be able to recreate the magic, but I guess we'll see. Although I'll be like, I'm not into politics, or can't stand the royals, or I'll say all of this, but essentially it's thrown at me every single day, everywhere I look, on my phone. I mean, people say, oh, don't watch the news, don't look in the paper. I don't. But if you've got a smartphone, you will hear or see some type of issue that involves something that you will tell everyone you're not interested in, you're not into, you can't help it. It's there.
Or even just in the office. The first thing one person will say is, oh my God, about Harry and Meghan or whatever, and then that's our topics for the next hour.
Yeah, and even though I don't, I'm like, I'm not talking about it, it's fucking bollocks. Even though I am so much like that, I'll hear something that somebody will say and I'll have to chip in. I don't know if that's just me because
No,
I'm
I'm the same
but
way. Me and you are very similar in that respect, I think.
yeah, like if people are talking about something and it's a lengthy conversation, there's no way I can sit there and just be quiet, even if it is about a topic. I mean, we all know I fucking can't stand Piers Morgan, and I literally despise him, but he is everywhere. And
Yeah,
the moment somebody mentions his name, I'm like, what? What? Even though
yeah.
I can't stand it, it's just that reaction you get.
But
So,
it's opinion on something as well. It's okay to have a debate and have difference in opinions, which is what Pierce does say, to be fair, but he doesn't go about it in the right
no,
way.
he doesn't. He
What's your
doesn't.
opinion?
And I like my opinion is, of course, everybody is entitled to opinion. That is just common knowledge. Everyone can say what they want. But I think with him and a lot of people that have these sort of vulgar opinions and they claim, oh, I'm just not a snowflake. I just say it how it is. It's like, okay, well, be prepared to be challenged on that then.
Yeah,
Yeah, for somebody to come back at you and say to you, well, how can you say that? What is your evidence that you have this such strong opinion about it and you're prepared to shout it from the rooftops and tell everyone how proud you are? But it's based on like what evidence? Like an opinion isn't a fact.
no,
Like that's what people need to get to grips with. And yeah, I don't think freedom of speech should be cancelled, but what you've got to prepare yourself for is that there will be consequences.
and it's being prepared for a healthy debate, and that's what he
Yeah,
kind of completely contradicts himself with, because he's like,
yeah,
"I'm
all the
right,
time.
and I'm allowed it," but then someone like you just said will challenge him, and he's then like, "No, you're wrong."
You'll walk out, or
Yeah,
you'll
what?
just, you are wrong. I disagree with you, but won't back it up with any credible argument or give
No,
any credible, resources as to why he feels so strongly. It's just, this is me. This is how I feel. Deal with it. And if anyone's got a problem with it, he does like cry about it. I can remember when like Greg's introduced their vegan sausage roll, and
mm.
he was literally frothing at the
He was
mouth
offended by it.
over how awful it is that this is thrown in everyone's faces. But yet he's the first one to tell people off for getting offended by something. Oh, just don't read it then, or don't listen. Turn it off then. It's as easy as that. Don't fucking eat the sausage roll then, Piers.
And that is going to be the tagline for the episode. Don't fucking eat it, Pierre.
Do you know what I mean? And it's people like him with these really, really strong opinions, like, oh, I'm allowed to say this, and you shouldn't say anything to me. It's like, no, well, you've got to be prepared to have a debate with somebody. Not, I mean, there is a line. So, like with this cancel culture sort of thing at the moment, like I always think that if you are like being vile, spouting off hatred, being a bigot, being blatantly racist, homophobic, sexist, then like you can't have a platform
No,
because you are inciting hate and it is dangerous. And people who have been able to spout their mouths off about this just vile, horrible misinformation, it is just wrong. It's not factual. It doesn't help anyone. But yet
no.
they're allowed these huge like platforms where they've got followers, and then I do think that they're the types of people, they're not prepared to change their mind. They have these views,
Oh no.
care that then they're influencing like young minds, people who are impressionable,
Millions
and
of people around the country.
I just think, well, yeah, like it's bad. I mean, look at Trump when he was saying about the election is rigged and everything, um, and he was basically telling people, you do what you need to do. That the election is rigged, blah blah blah. I'm not a loser. It's been taken from me, whatever. You do what you need to do. He knows he's got a massive following.
Yeah.
And then when they stormed the Capitol, people, got seriously injured and things. It was just, I was just like, oh my God, think
What's
what
good
you like. If you want to think that you can, but telling people to go ahead and do what they got to do,
in a
you know,
country?
the result. Yeah. I mean, things like that, that's what I'm referring to. And it's
No.
people like that that I feel like if they're allowed to just say what they want and do what they want, they're not being policed, there's no consequences for their actions, is dangerous.
No.
But yeah, I mean, if somebody says something and it's, you know, mildly offensive, they normally end up, you know, shooting themselves in the foot anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I think that there has to be like a balance between the two. I don't think you can just cancel out everyone that you disagree with. It's just not going to happen. But yeah, I just think it needs to be the case where if you're going to say things that incite hate, is dangerous, toxic in those ways, then I'm all for cancelling. But if it's just a difference in opinion, I don't agree with you. Do you know what I mean? Then
Different opinion is so healthy. Like the amount of times we've been in the office and me and you, who are very close, you'll say something and I'll be like, well, I don't agree with that, and vice versa. Or like, or not even I don't agree with it, but it's like, oh, well, think about this, think about the other side, or whatever.
Yeah, and I think that's healthy. You can't
100%.
just be like, I mean, I think with the internet, it's extreme, and if you look for it, you'll find it. Like,
100%.
like it's just everything is there for anyone to look into and be like, oh yeah, that is happening. There's too much of that. Well, if you're only concentrating on that one fucking thing, then yeah, you're going to see that.
Yeah.
And I just think you've got to really be careful about what you expose yourself to, how much sort of socials you're allowing into your everyday life. You might not even realise it, but the amount of times you scroll on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, like check who you're following
Because you
because
see these things and they get drilled into you. Like with the whole COVID thing, me and you were very much stop reading it. But again, what you said earlier, you didn't have a choice.
no,
You had it ploughed down your throat.
oh, yeah,
How many people, etc. So we had a choice, but
sorry.
this is going to be innuendo central now.
Sorry, hang on a minute, Susan's barking. Susan, no one's here. I'm on the phone. Shut up. Sorry.
I missed you shout with Susan on team.
No, yeah, you're completely right. And it's like, it's a double-edged sword. It's like, you don't want to expose yourself to these things, but at the same time, it's in your face. But then I do think the onus is on you and the responsibility is on you to be like, right, I need to control my environment. If social media is having a negative impact on my life, maybe I need to switch off for a bit and have a break.
How did it affect you during the pandemic?
Oh.
Because we've had a conversation a few times in terms of...
It's been like an emotional roller coaster, I would say. It was like, I mean, God, yeah. Sucked the life out of me, really.
The social media made it worse, is what I mean.
Oh, 10 times worse.
In terms of like, the headlines and the, like, oh my God, it's getting worse, it's going up. But then me and you used to be like, okay, well, click on the link, read what it says, and then it's not even... That's where me and you both, at the beginning, I think, were very much, that's what got to us most.
Yeah, 2 seconds. Susan wants to go out now, the selfish bitch.
Tell her she's a cow.
I'll let you out. Are you not doing that in the face? Fuck you.
Is it pouring down there?
Oh, God. Oh, my God, there. Like, so,
Is it pouring down there?
literally pissing down.
Yeah, same. Shitting it down, yeah. Okay, so, well, we covered cancel culture. So, I think quite a, not controversial one, but I know you'll have an opinion on it. Is it wrong to comment fire emojis on pictures that have... No, let me start that again.
Okay. Okay.
So I'm reading it from the thing. Is it wrong to comment a fire emoji on pictures of people that aren't your partner? Or like a love heart emoji, or even like, what is your opinion on it?
Right, so, personally, from a personal perspective, I would say, for me, I wouldn't like it. If I was sort of like to go on socials and see that my partner, you know, we were officially together, and he had been sort of doing that to various women, you know, I think with the celebrities, I don't think I would care.
No.
So with hi Ralph.
Hey. Well. Okay, exactly.
So with
No.
like with a
No, I
celebrity,
completely agree. Yeah.
I don't think I would care, to be honest. Wouldn't bother me. But I think when it's like, because Cardiff is such a small place as well. If it's like, someone's sister, someone's ex, you kind of might not know them personally, but you know of them. I just think, for me, the reason why I wouldn't do it is not because, oh my God, I'm in a relationship and I would never ever look at anyone and find them attractive, because that's bullshit. Everyone does. That's just human nature. But
100%.
I just think out of respect, like, why am I sort of, you can literally appreciate someone's looks and their physique and whatever with your eyes. You don't have to react. You
Oh
can be
my
like,
God. So true. It is literally so
he's
true.
hot, she's hot. That's a normal reaction. Why do you have to tell them that you think that they're hot? Because that's what you're doing, essentially.
Yeah, it is so true. When you think,
Reacting. And I know people go, oh yeah, but you need to be less insecure about yourself and blah blah blah. But I just think it's more of a respect thing.
no, I completely.
For me personally. But then I also know people who are like, it doesn't bother me, I don't care. And I'm like, well, if it doesn't bother you, then fine, that's fair. That's fair. Like, but for me personally, I just wouldn't really like to be having a browse on socials and you seeing your partner's
No,
name in somebody's likes. I mean, it's not that deep, but at the same time, I just think everyone's different, and ideally, you should have a conversation about it.
yeah, I think, I don't know how Ashley will feel about me talking about this, but I'm very much of the whole like thing doesn't really bother me. And it's very much like I said, especially with celebs. If you like Justin Bieber's picture, it doesn't even cross my mind. If
Yeah.
I saw it like a like on someone else's picture, I would be a bit like, oh, but it wouldn't necessarily. I don't think that would really bother me, but comment and like going out of your way to
Oh,
make the person know, like you just said, make that person know that they not fancy them, but find them attractive, just wouldn't sit well.
yeah, especially like because this is gonna sound so fucking petty now, but because out of all the emojis, if it was
Mm.
just a like, I think I could get over it. Like, I
Yeah,
don't think I would really sort of bring up an issue unless it was like the same person's like last 10
and I guess
pictures.
that's the difference.
Then
Yeah,
I think because there's so many different sort of like levels to it, it just depends. But like, for example, if it was like a fire emoji or a love heart emoji, it's embarrassing. Like, why are you fucking love hearting
yeah,
people?
embarrassing for you. Yeah,
Fucking grow
completely.
up. Like,
Yeah,
you're not 15. You're not a horny teenager.
no,
Like, what's your problem? So that's probably what I would say. Essentially, like, are you all right? Do you know what I mean?
what are you up to?
Yeah, like like, did someone steal your phone? Like,
Have
yeah,
you?
I think if it's just, like, especially if like, it's somebody we both know or something like that. If it's, is of the opposite sex, I'm going to go nuts over it. But if I was noticing heart emojis and fire emojis and the word sexy underneath multiple pictures,
Yeah,
then I would definitely be having a little chat.
different. And again, it's different. Like if you know that they're friendly and they comment, it's very different. But I
Yeah,
think
like,
it's just
oh,
random
yeah,
bloody.
because, you can be friends with the opposite sex. And I do think if you've got like joint socials together and like, you're looking through each other's phones, that's just toxic. You can't be doing that.
Completely agree.
That's
Well,
a,
it's not a relationship to me.
no, that's a whole nother level, and I don't think you should be
Yeah.
together. Do yourself a favour.
To be fair, about like, can you be best friends with the opposite sex? That's a good.
Um,
That's a good.
do you know what?
Have you? Would you? Are you?
Right, so my thing is like, yes, of course you can have friends of the opposite sex, but it all depends on how close you are.
Yeah.
So, would you go out for food with this friend? Would you, go on sort of friendship dates, things like that? How are you friends? Were you once a couple?
Mm,
Have you sat together multiple times? Were you friends with benefits? It's all things like that. It's like, you
yeah.
know, there are friendships out there that are purely platonic. I'm not saying it can't happen, but I find in my experience, there's normally been history between them, or do you know what I mean? There's always been that sort of hidden love that one of the people is just never going to be interested in that way, and they've remained friends, but you know, in a circumstance if the other person was willing. So I just think in my experience, no, because I've always known people to be like, oh yeah, well he has tried to come on to me, or she has done this, or she has said that she's got feelings for me, but I just want to remain friends.
It's uncomfortable then, I think, at that friendly level, if that has happened in the past.
Yeah. So like, I wouldn't like if my boyfriend was like, yeah, like, you know, well, my boyfriend has got female friends, but he doesn't like, he's not like, oh, I'm over her house right now. But like, we've been out and he's been like, oh, this is my friend, such and it's a girl. I've not gone, what are you doing? Like, yeah, I've not, you know, I would never react in that way. That's just childish. But if he was like, yeah, I'm over my friend's house. Yeah, I'm out with my friend. Yeah, she's like with me right now. That's probably when I would be a bit like,
Yeah, because you don't, yeah, where's the line, I think.
Exactly. But I just think in all of these sort of circumstances, conversations need to be had. You can't just expect somebody to know how you feel about the situation. You have to tell them. And if you don't, you're just going to get more and more pissed off and you're just going to be unhappy. If you tell them and they don't take on board that, you know, it upsets you, makes you feel uncomfortable, they just expect you to deal with it and get over it. It's probably the case where you're not supposed to be together.
No.
They're not your person, so you just suck it up and move on.
Agree.
Yeah. But I think, again, on the flip side, these conversations aren't had.
Do you ever feel guilty?
About what, though?
So,
What?
No, just, do you have guilt in general, or are you very much like, no, I said that for a reason? Well, I know what your answer's going to be with that.
So I used to be very people person. Please, you know, that's your friend. You do anything and everything for them, which to a certain degree, yes. But I learned now that you should never lose yourself doing it. So like before, I would drop everything, do anything, even like to the point where I would put myself out completely, not just a little bit, like in bizarre ways. And then I'd think then, well, why did I do that? Now I'm in a situation where I've missed out on something, or I've lost out on something, or, you know, I've sort of put myself in a position where, you know, I've put myself out completely. And it wasn't a case where it was just a one-off, because if it's a one-off, that's life. But it was happening all the time. And then I just thought to myself, fuck this. Nah, like this is not happening anymore. Because if you don't do that, people will just walk all over you. Sometimes it's not even like maliciously or intentional. It's purely because you have not set boundaries.
Yeah, it's on you to not put the front over, that's the wrong thing to say, but
Like,
for you to set
put
the
the
market
onus on yourself to take responsibility and tell people, whether they're your friends, your family, your partners, like yes, I'm available and I can do this and I can help you and I can be there for you, but make sure you're not killing yourself in the process. Like you've got boundaries. And if you have those types of friends that you think, why do the people always seem to like do this to me? The problem is probably you more than them.
100%.
Because people won't do things that you won't, to a certain degree this is for, but people won't do things to you if you don't allow them to. But I do think that's all to do with growth, age, experience.
Something like, I'll have to try and find it, but it's like, essentially people will treat you how you left them.
And that is so true. And I found that out the hard way. And it's not easy, you know, setting boundaries and being sort of like, no, I'm not going to do that. Sometimes it's hard. And that's where you feel the guilt. You think, well, I feel bad for saying no. But it's like, well, if you didn't want to fucking do it, then why? Like, you're your own person. You're just people pleasing at that stage. Don't ever feel bad. But sometimes you do feel guilty. You can't help it. But you haven't necessarily done anything wrong. Like, I like my own company a lot. I do. Like, I am the best person to hang out with. That's how I feel. And sometimes people are like, oh, you know, what are you doing? Let's do this, let's do that. And I'm thinking, I don't fucking want to. And I haven't got a good enough reason why I don't want to. So I
No.
think, nah, I'm not even going to come up with a reason or make up a lie or make up an excuse. I'm just going to say no. And I think the older that I get, the more I feel less guilty for those things. But sometimes I think, oh, maybe I should have said yeah. Or what if they were
know that that's you and know that that's where you are. You do enjoy being on your own, and that's
yeah. Yeah, but I do think we all feel that friendship guilt. But I think a lot of it, most people are good friends to their, you know, the people that they're close to in their lives. So 9 times out of 10, if it's like an emergency or you're just having a shit time, you will be there for your friend. Of course you will.
yeah.
But if it's something that doesn't warrant that response, then don't fucking feel guilty because it's a wasted emotion for that type of situation anyway.
Amen. Life lessons with them. Literally life
No,
lessons.
no, because literally, I've got to this point in my life from making too many bad choices. But then I've learned, so
But then 100%, every choice is a lesson.
yeah,
And
definitely.
even all the bad shit.
Yeah.
Probably move on to kind of more light-hearted stuff. Would you be happy to see Harry and Meghan on the balcony at the Jubilee?
Right, so
I know you're very, what's the word?
I'm anti-royal. I am. I'm anti-royal.
You are anti-royal, yeah.
I
So
don't think there should be any. I think in this day and age, in our modern society, where we're trying to be as a society, there isn't any sort of reason why the monarchy is still there. Because when you look at sort of like the pros and cons, it's like everything that they stand for divides us as a nation. Because their traditional values and all that shite is just not implemented in this day and age anymore. I mean, the Queen was born into her position, but she doesn't actually rule the country. She has people to make all of those decisions for her. Not only that, the cost that goes into keeping the royal family, and yes, I know they bring in lots of tourism and blah, 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 because everyone's...
That's the first thing people say, isn't it?
Yeah, but everyone comes to London to see the Queen, and that means more tourism. Yeah, well, if you actually looked into the upkeep of, like, taxpayers' money that goes into, like, everything that you do with the royals, it would shock you.
Houses.
Yeah, it would actually shock you to your core. It's like, and not only that, like everything that they stand for, I think people want to hold on to this kind of like memory of when the royals were a lot more kind of respected when we were younger, especially,
Diana.
yeah. And I think people hold on to that memory and they've got that memory of the royal family and, you know, oh yeah, but it reminds me of when my nan's and she had the plate on the wall and things. But that's not fucking helpful now, is it? Come on. Like, who gives a shit if you're having, like, your dinner off a plate of fucking...
With the Queen's face on it.
I mean, no disrespect, but she's hanging on at the moment.
Literally.
You know, she's probably not going to live much longer. And not that I wish her any harm or anything like that, because I don't, but I just think people they bury their head in the sand and they don't really look at the facts. They don't really look at like how the royal family benefit us as a nation and a country. People just love waving the flag outside the palace.
If you said to someone, how does the royal family benefit? I would struggle to see what people would say.
Yeah, and the reasons that most people give are things that are not there anymore.
No.
Like, they're not part of our modern society. They also cause a massive divide. Like, they are very much them and us. Like, they're the cream of the crop, and we're just the fucking, like, pieces of shite underneath them.
Well, when they were in Jamaica, was it Jamaica recently?
Yeah.
They did themselves no favours.
We're waving at all the brown children, and it's like, it was embarrassing. I watched, like, a second of it because I felt like I was going to turn inside out of embarrassment because I just recoiled at seeing fucking Kate with her bony hand putting it through. Like, I tried gloves on. Honestly, I tried fucking gloves on.
£3,000 dress or something ridiculous.
Oh, it's just backwards. It's so backwards. Why do we hold? All tradition is, right, is dead people who are not even breathing anymore. We're still trying to like live in their memory. It's like, fuck's sake, grow a backbone. Like, do you know what I mean? Moan about so much shit. But then they're like, oh, but I love the Queen because she's lovely. And it's like, well, she's going to be dead in a minute. She ain't going to be living when we're dealing with all this shite. I mean, she sits there, right? Queen's Speech Christmas kills me off. Sits there, right, with all her jewels hanging off her, telling us how we should all just, you know, live within our means and I think to myself, yeah, you say that and then you go back to bed in your bloody palace. And I just think, it's almost like watching a comedy sketch.
Yeah, I think with the world the way it is now, I think you're completely right. And like, I don't really have too much negative to say about them, but partly because I don't know enough, if I'm completely honest.
Yeah, and I think that's what people's problem is. They just
Yeah,
look at stuff that's kind of like on the surface, all the nice fluffy things.
exactly. But I think where the world is now, where everyone is suffering, and even just in the country, I think you're completely right in terms of where do they at. It's all good and well then preaching to us like, oh, the cost of living and all this, and then like you said, they're in fucking how much is fucking impact.
Somebody that's never, ever, ever, ever had to fucking struggle, worry about money, had to only use fucking cold water because it costs too much to put the heating on. Like things like that affect a lot of people's everyday lives, you know. I just think this is all backwards. Like, I don't get it. And I think a lot of people are just, they stay ignorant because if they face up to the truth, then it's fucking depressing. But it's real and it's what we're living right now. And I think there's bigger things going on. And Meghan and Harry, I mean, I'm glad we get an extra day off work.
Fuck yeah.
I mean, yeah, 2 extra days, but I don't work Fridays, so there's no fucking.
No, yeah, you don't, yeah.
Yeah,
But
I know. I want it to be a Thursday and a Monday.
Thursday and a random Tuesday.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, to be honest, I think what Harry's done is really brave. I do think he's kind of stood by his woman and sort of probably seen more than anyone because he's seen probably all of this dark, shady shit
That
that's
we
gone
don't
on.
know.
And he's probably thought, you know what, I fucking had enough of this. This is bollocks. You know, I can't live like this anymore.
He almost agrees, you'd like to think, with what we've just said. Like, the way the world is now, my family don't fit in that. Like, they are running.
And, you know, like, with the whole, like, Oprah Winfrey interview, and with everything that Meghan was saying, I know Meghan isn't a massively liked person in the public eye, but I think the media has done that to her because she was never going to be liked because she was kind of not like Kate, was she? She wasn't like, yes or no, sir, 3 bags full, sir.
No.
You know, her past and everything, God, they probably fucking slagged Harry off so much. They would be like, we'll get it gone for you if you want.
Yeah,
you know, we'll do it. But yeah, I mean, I just feel like, does he even care that he ain't invited to the shit party? It's probably boring. He's probably going to be made to, like, you know, do and say things that he doesn't want to. So, do you know what? He's probably thinking, I don't give a shit. Like,
and he's
that.
pretty scared, and naturally. You can
Yeah.
imagine, like, threats and stuff he's had, I think. Well, he is, from what I've read, they're not going on the balcony, the big event, but they are coming. So apparently, even that, like, think of the uproar that all of that is going to cause, and the money that is going to be spent around the whole family in general because of that.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, what gets me is the fact that Meghan and Harry everyone seems to be still more outraged than them over what's his face? Prince Andrew. Is it Andrew?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, with everything that he's been involved in, which is just disgusting and vile. I just think, wow.
But yeah, people have stopped talking about it.
Yeah. I mean, that has been quite squashed now.
Completely.
And like, when his dad died and he was at the funeral and people were like, yeah, but he's grieving for his dad. Well, why did he have to fucking publicly be there in everyone's faces? And he was just there like, oh yeah, I'm really sad my dad's died. His dad was like 100. Yeah, it was so like, yeah, so bold and arrogant. He just didn't give a shit. And I just thought, wow, there was outrage about it, but not as much as when fucking Harry and Meghan went on Oprah. And I just think that is what was
People are
society.
still talking about Harry and Meghan every single day in the paper right now.
People
But Andrew
never
have gone.
for it, and I just thought, Jesus Christ, like there's bigger things going on in that family that are public knowledge, and people just seem to be outraged for a couple of days, and then it was like yesterday's news. It's just bizarre, but I think that's what's wrong with society. We put too much effort, emphasis, and importance on ridiculous things.
No, I completely agree. So bottom line is, should they be abolished?
Yes, 100%.
Right now.
Yeah, right now, get them all gone.
Fuck the money.
Yeah, fuck them. Literally. Get them all gone and, have a party in the palace.
Literally.
And auction off all the shite. Or actually, send it all back to the countries that they fucking stole it from. Let's be honest. And I don't know, do something decent. It's just crazy.
Yeah. I think that is the bottom line sort of people. I don't have a negative opinion on them. I don't, but partly because I don't, like I said, I'm not invested enough in them to know.
Yeah, and I think that it's okay to be like that, because rather that than having a fucking cutlery set and a plate at home on.
Having a street party at the Jubilee.
I mean, imagine, right? You come over my house for a cup of tea, and I was like, oh yeah, and then stirring the fucking tea, and then I gave you the mug, and it had fucking Prince Andrew's face on it.
Bottom of the mug, you looked at it.
Going straight across the room. No, but you'd be like, hey, what the fuck's wrong with you? You'd be like, are you alright?
You just worship in a family,
it's just fucking weird. Yeah. Massive cult, and everyone just needs to, wise up, basically. Grow up.
A lot of people now are of the same opinion as you. I think more now so than ever, I think. And I think I do think it'll last longer. I think it'll last Charles's reign, it'll last William's reign, and then I do think it'll almost, because the Queen has been such a, is it 70 years?
It's
I think that's why people are clinging on to it. But I think when someone that big goes, I really do think it'll slowly dwindle.
It's like people hold on to things like that, even though it's bad. It's like a terrible relationship that somebody cannot leave. They know it's bad for them. They know it serves them no fucking purpose, but yet they're still fucking parading around with them. Do you know what I mean? It's toxic. It's like we become so used to something, so accustomed to it, that even though it's bad for us, we're brainwashed almost. What I'm passionate about is, this is going to sound fucking so cliche and cheesy, but just making sure, I don't know how to word it, but for me now, being this age, knowing what I know with my experience, obviously because I'm a mum now, I suppose, I just want Brady to grow up in a world where he doesn't feel sort of stifled or shut down or made to feel that his beliefs, opinions are wrong because they might differ from somebody else's. So I just want him, I want him to grow up in a society that is more accepting. I love the fact that people feel guys feel comfortable now to sit on the train and do their makeup. I love that. Do you know what I mean?
I follow going to a gig and they're just on the train doing the makeup.
Yeah, and women feel more empowered. They don't have to have a face full of makeup to go to work anymore. They don't have to dress sexy, things like that. I want him to grow up in that world. I know it's never going to be the case where everyone's accepted, and I'm not foolish and naive to think that, but I see so many people being their true selves, and as cheesy and cliche and it sounds, because I've got a child, I'm just happy that I see that now happening more and more every day. But I'm passionate in instilling into him and anyone else really that that it is okay, and they don't have to kind of sort of run away from who they really are, I guess, because it is so important to live your life how you want to without judgment and prejudice. Because imagine being trapped in a body or a mind where you just can't be you. It must be so awful. And everyone talks about, oh, be kind, be kind. I hear that being thrown around so much. I think, nah, a lot of the time it's used in the wrong way, because you say that, but you're not sort of, you're not doing that yourself.
You're doing it to you.
Yeah, you're only saying it when it suits you. But yeah, that is probably the thing that I feel most passionate about in life, is just people having a voice, being able to speak their mind within reason, in terms of like it not being, inciting hate and trying to force people to think a certain way. But yeah, and I just think,
and listening to others.
yeah, and things are seeming to be going in the right direction. I just hope it continues, because I already hear children talking. Like, I was watching This Is Sin.
Oh yeah, which I still haven't seen.
Oh, I can't believe you haven't seen that.
I know.
I can't. Honestly, come on, Joe. Come on.
Know. The time we next do a podcast, I promise you I will have watched it and we'll review it. We'll review it.
Yeah, well, I was watching that, and obviously there's quite a lot of sex scenes in there. I should have probably been watching it with Brady in the room, but it was fine. It wasn't, that episode was okay. And he was like, Mummy, what are they doing? And they were kissing. It was obviously two guys kissing. I said, well, they're kissing. He said, why are they doing that? I said, well, because they love each other. Don't think they did love each other. I think it was a nightstand.
They were pissed. But...
yeah, and he was just like, oh. Like, there was no sort of like, there was no sort of like, as a child, his innocent mind, he didn't see guys kissing and thinking, well, that's strange.
Well, that's different, yeah.
No, he asked me what they were doing, and I said they were kissing because they love each other. And he was just like, oh, and he sort of smiled. And I just thought, yeah, that's what I want him to be like. That is completely normal. There's no issue with it. Rather than...
And you installing that in him.
Yeah.
His friends.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to have a knock-on effect. I mean, people shy away from it, or they don't know how to handle it. And I get that there's a lot of like, I don't understand, so I'll kind of just ignore it. I get that people are like that, but it's not really that difficult. It's really not. You just treat it as if that was a heterosexual couple on screen. What would you say to your child? If they're kissing because they like each other, fancy each other, or they're in love. So why have you got to clam up when it's the same sex couple? I don't get it. But I just think, yeah, if things keep going the way they're going, then at least we're not leaving a shit stain on society.
I think Brady will grow up in a very different world when he is in his 20s. I really, really, really do.
Yeah. Like, people are like, oh, I'm so scared because things are different. I'm like, a lot of things are good different.
100%.
A lot of things are so, like, you look back to when your nan was a teenager or in her early 20s. I mean, God.
I went to a drag brunch on Saturday night in the middle of Cardiff City Centre.
Yeah.
Everywhere walking. Like, imagine that back then. Imagine that 20.
Do that as I think that probably there's always going to be stigma around it, and there's always going to be people that don't like it and have something negative to say and be horrible and hateful. But I think going back even as little as like 5-7 years ago, that probably wouldn't even have been allowed, or people would have kicked back about it, and I just think it's mad that we're getting to a point where we can appreciate things that should always have been normal. But I'm glad we're still getting there, and it just makes me happy, because I do think, if Brady comes out, he's going to be in such a better environment.
100%.
Be accepted than if he was to be kind of like grow up any year.
10 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So that is getting back to the point. That is probably what I'm really passionate about.
Well, that's really cute. That's something that Brady will take with him, and like you said, he'll like pass it on. There's a knock-on effect over it.
I mean, when people are like, oh, what do you want your kid to be when they grow up? And I just think, I just want them to be like nice, and not nice in the sort of sense that, they're just nice to everyone, because that's not necessarily what I mean. I just want them to be
well-rounded.
good, yeah, and do good, like help people. And again, I know it sounds super cheesy, but like that's what the world needs more of. Like you just see, like you see people now, like not to be negative, but you do, like, you know, walking past somebody and instead of just saying, "Oh no, sorry, I'm going to change," they'll give them a dirty look down on them, and things like that. And I just think you don't have to do that.
What kind of world is it, sort of?
Yeah, like my mum was saying, bless her, she was saying that this guy was struggling with his bags, an old gentleman. So my mum's only tiny, my mum's 5 foot, right? She's like a size 6. Don't know where I got my ass from, thanks mum. But she's tiny, my mum, and she said no one helped him. She could see he was really struggling, so she went over to him and picked his shopping bags up for him, and he was like, "Oh no, it's okay." And she was like, "No, it's fine." Well, apparently, bless him, she had a chat with him on the bus. My mum talks to everyone. She had a chat with him, and he'd recently had a heart attack, and he'd lost a lot of weight, and he'd been in hospital. But yeah, no one. She said everyone was just kind of like just walking past him, like looking at him as if he, you know, was a piece of shit.
Like lower class sort of thing, because he couldn't carry.
Like, no, that's so nice. And she's like, it is a nice thing to do, but it's just sort of, if you can see someone struggling, fucking help them.
It's her natural instinct to do it.
Yeah, and I think the bus driver let her on for free, she said. So things like that. Like, if my son grows up and he is helpful, you know, tries to just be a better member of society by not just being a fucking dickhead, then I've done something right.
Amen. Well, you're doing right by installing those things into him.
Yeah. So I don't really give a shit if he's not a footballer or a bloody famous singer. Do you know what? I would actually hate that because I probably wouldn't like his music. It would probably be shit. And I'd have to pretend that it was
But he
good.
can make you millions.
Yeah, I know, but you know, God, the music of today, mind. So
I know.
yeah, it would probably be shit. So I'd just rather him be like, you know, an all-round good human being that was like not a knobhead.
Yeah. Amen. Okay, so if you could give one reason why you should be the next Prime Minister, what would it be?
I would be fucking awful at this job because I just wouldn't want that responsibility ever.
Amen.
Ever. But
What is your best quality that you would want to take with you to be a Prime Minister?
funny. I just want to make everyone fucking laugh. But that's probably why I couldn't do that job, because I wouldn't take it seriously and everyone would be fucking pissed off because they'd be like, yeah, she's funny, but come on now, do something, pull your finger out.
Just like Boris, very much.
No, he's not fucking funny.
Yeah, he's just a drip.
He's like a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I just try and create all the lols, you know, just try and make people laugh through the pain.
Lift the spirit.
Yeah, basically, just like spread some light on the fucking doom and gloom that is like showered upon us by our fucking government every day when they tell us it's raining, but really they're just pissing all over us.
Yes. Literally love it. You cracked me up. Okay, so what were you, I don't know who the next guest is going to be. What would your question to them be?
If you could be anyone for a day, who would you be and why? Like, what are your reasons as to why you pick that person?
Yeah, that's a good one. That'll be ready for the next guest, who I don't actually know it's going to be, but so that'll be interesting. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. Thank you so much for doing it.
I'll be like, that Joe, when can I come back?
I know, literally. But we will, we'll 100% do it again. Okay. Thank you. It's been insightful as always.
Yeah, just keep me posted on the updates and obviously show me the result of it. I mean, it's going to go out anyway. I would never let you post not post anything. I'd never be a fucking Karen and be like, no, you're not doing it.
No.
But yeah, just let me know.